Realistically, when it comes to our life and how other people perceive us and emotions that we feel about that, sometimes it can lead to shame. And this conversation comes from a talk I had with a friend the other day, and he was talking about how sometimes he felt shame or he was embarrassed when he told people what he did for a living, mainly when it came to girls and stuff like that. And what I realized over time is that the relationship that you have about what you do is always going to be what people will buy into. And it's kind of something that you can take with you across the board. But to focus on the subject, it's like, how do you feel about the things that you do? How do you feel about taking this action and the other one? And then from there, that's how people are going to view it too, right? The only way you can have embarrassment or shame or have that feeling, right, in your life is if you buy it from somebody else, if you find yourself sort of falling into it. And it's a fall because if you think about the emotion of embarrassment, usually you will feel like almost like getting caught, like I'm embarrassed, I'm caught. And it's the same thing for interactions that we have, right? In conversation, you can get caught. And it's like, you got to think, okay, well, how about I prepare for this before it happens? How about I spend time with myself and I spend time, looking at my life and looking at the things that I'm going to be talking about, or the things that I'm open to sharing with people, or that people, that people will be aware of, and see how I feel about them. And to start there will save you a lot of troubled times, if I can say that, because it becomes clear, right? And it's a lot like sales, if anybody has ever worked in sales, because sales is that art, pretty much. It's that you have to feel strongly about something enough that you can convey it, and then people will just see that, because things around us are always built and shared from within a point of view, from within a context, right? And so you can see the things that you do in your life, you can see the actions that you take and the things that you own as well as part of a context. And so it's important for you to, for us as a whole, myself included, it's part of what I practice, is that I have to make sure that the context of the things that I do, talk, and own are from my own life, my own perspective as well. Because as soon as you change the context, things change. And we can make the example about a lot of things. One of the things is, for example, $100, right? I don't have $100 here, but if you take $100 in one context, it's a lot of money. And if you take $100 in a different context, it's not that much, right? If you have $100 in a corner store, you're rich. You can buy whatever you want, pretty much. If you have $100, let's say you're in a car dealership, well, now it's a different conversation. Now it's a little bit awkward because now you don't own all of the stuff, right? You don't have as much power. You don't have as much buying power in this environment. But see, the difference there between corner store and dealership is just the context in which the object, which is the same normally, is gonna be in a different place, and then it changes everything about the object itself. It changes how it makes you appear. It changes what that thing can do, and pretty much what that thing is, even though it looks like it's the exact same. And if you understand that, it now we're deep into like the abstract concept of it, but it falls down to the same thing. And so one important thing, even before we even engage into relationships or engage into trying to pursue things like that and wondering why it doesn't work or why we're having trouble with it, is to realize that it is like sales. And so that we have to be sold ourselves onto an idea, sold onto a way of looking at life, our own life. And it's a risky game, right? It's a risky thing because Your perspective is one out of an infinity amount, right? But you have to believe in it in order to allow it to be, and then it becomes sort of fundamental to everything that you carry out, and it's a daily process. But in that process, what happens is that it establishes itself, and you're able to just go through life and with a freedom, pretty much, right? But it's almost like a leap of faith, right? Where you are able to simply surrender to it and say, well, this is my life, boom. And now everything falls from within that point of view. And it matters in life more than you might think. It matters in life because this idea of context and the things that we have, the things that we own, the things that we do, it matters a lot. And it pushes a lot of people towards misery, pushes a lot of people to deal with troubles and problems that they don't understand really themselves. And that is because they don't see where they fall short. They don't see where they fall for these type of problems. They don't seem like problems that you can fall for because they're so abstract. But fundamentally, everything that we do comes from these ideas. Everything that we do comes from this idea that we think a certain way, and it pushes us to act in a way. And so, to go back to this problem, to this idea, is that we can prepare ourselves to just to be received and just to present ourselves, right? You wouldn't go into an auditorium and give a speech about something and not have a speech prepared. You would have rehearsed something unless you're at such a high level, but that preparation, right? That preparation will require you to reflect on how is it that you feel about this idea? How is it that you feel about this subject, and what is about to come, and what do you want to convey, and what are the steps that you're going to take towards that? And so by the time not even prepared to leave, but by the time you're done with your preparation, the speech is already done. You understand? It has to be already done. It's already written down, every word, every idea, every step, right? And so that is actually the hardest part. Just like in a day, right? We can start to implement something like that. And that's why people say that you have to be selfish in the morning and selfless the rest of the day. You have to be selfish about what is it that you view in life. What is it that you consider as important? What is it that you consider as being valuable? And just how do you feel about life as a whole? And then you develop sort of you get in contact with who you are as in your essence, who you are as in your mantra, who you are in your most abstract way, which is detached from things and all that. But it's an important thing, and then it's going to take you to pretty much be able to have a faith enough in that to allow it to guide you through life. And it's a lot like love, because there's not going to be a certainty. It has to be a faith in a way, right? And so, yeah, I guess in a certain way, what we're discussing here is that in order for you to have control over your life, which is like to view your life from your own eyes and not allow other people to do it for you, you have to have a better connection with who you are as a person, right? And you can only do so by having sort of an understanding of what is it that it means. What does it mean, right? And I hope this is what we're trying to do here, is bring clarity on this subject. And so unless you have some type of faith in this, unless you have some type of a belief in who you are as a person, then your perspective on life will not even withhold the smallest type of friction, right? And you'll just adopt whatever anybody else does. And what will create for you is just a life of you running after things and running after people's perspective and struggling a lot within that. And that's a life of misery, and you can spend your whole life doing that. And that's why it's so important to establish now this understanding, to accept it, and then to just roll with it. And then there are a lot of things that you can do as well. There are activities that you can do through your day, right? Which will allow you to find more friction, make you feel more alive, and make you get more in touch with who you are as a person. And those are the activities that put you in a state where you don't even feel time passing by, you just feel in a flow state, they call it. And so the next thing you can do is engage into activities that push against you, push against your perspective and give you a sense of opposition, something to fight, right? But you have to do that with a perspective to do so. And you can use the gym for that. You can go to the gym and try to maintain that positive mindset and try to fight your way into building it in a way. And your resilience is what you would be building at this point. You will be creating within yourself a sense of awareness of who you are, which becomes strong enough to sustain you lifting this weight. Because what will happen over the time that you lift weight and do things that are hard, not necessarily at the gym, but do something which is hard, is that you'll find an inner battle, which is of you not being able to keep the same point of view of life being as nice as it is, as simple or as easy as it was before you were doing this hard thing. And that is a big deal, and that is pretty much what true strength is about, is a resilience. And this whole thing is because we buy easily now into a lot of ideas. We buy easily now into perspectives because of how we're all connected in a way, and all our everybody does so in masses. You understand? It's not so much a small group of people, but it's everybody, and everybody buys into the same thing in the same way, and we're sort of becoming the same people. And so it's so much more easier now to be taken away by the wave, which is outside of ourselves. But if you can just be aware of this mechanism, if you can just be aware of the fact that things happen this way, then a lot of these emotions just sort of leave, because you realize that they're not real. The only things that are real, which is like will be the reflections that you have about yourself. These feelings of shame and embarrassment coming from other people, it only means that you bought into their way of looking at life, and that if you can just stay more in touch with who you are and the life, the way you view it, you can be safe, I guess, protected from from that, because you don't fall for a trap which is not even there to begin with. And yeah, that was a lot, and I hope it was digestible enough and to be applicable in life. If this actually created any feeling of of understanding or of deep reflection, it's important for you to take action on it today, to do something. And it can be any type of action that will just demonstrate in your life that that you have some type of hope towards that direction, and that you have some type of manifestation of it into your life. And so what I would do is write something down. What I would do is any type of action that would, at least make it real, that emotion, that feeling about whatever. And yeah, thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, comment, or send me an email.